So tonight I am going to be talking about something that is one of my passions for this church, one of my favorite things. And last week I talked about community being one of the things that we're all about here, and even more so friendship. One of my favorite things is when I see people come to church and they don't really got any friends, and that's sad. And then they make friends at church, and then I see them come all the time. They got a new best friend at church. I'm like, that's amazing. I love that. I want to see that happen more. Friendship is cool. People need friends. I like friends. So we're going to be talking about friendship. We're going to be taking a wicked ride through Proverbs.
Come on.
If you've ever read through Proverbs, you probably got really confused because Proverbs is full of one-liners of wisdom bombs, one after another, but they're not related to each other. So you get your mind blown and you're like, how do I treat my parents? And you're like, whoa, this is so crazy. And the next line, it's like, this is how you spend your money. And you're like, whoa, this is so crazy. And the next line, it's too much wisdom. The brain can only handle so much. So you got to take it in little tidbits. So what I've done is I went through and I picked out a bunch of verses that have to do with friendship. Friendship. So to begin, I want to read through them all, just to get you get your brain working on these verses, and then we're going to dig into them a bit. So we're going to go through them. There's more than just three. There's a lot. 18:24. One who has unreliable friends soon comes to ruin, but there is a friend who sticks closer than a brother. 17. A friend loves at all times, and a brother is there for times of trouble. Seldom set foot in your neighbor's house. Too much of you, and they will hate you. 25:20. Singing cheerful songs to a person with a heavy heart is like someone taking someone's coat in cold weather or pouring vinegar into a wound. Just as damaging as a madman shooting a deadly weapon is someone who lies to a friend and then says, I was only joking. We've all done it. 27:5-6 says, better is open rebuke than hidden love. Faithful are the wounds of a friend. Profuse are the kisses of an enemy. 29:5 says, to flatter friends is to lay a trap for their feet. We're all right. 27:9, oil and perfume make the heart glad, and the sweetness of a friend comes from his earnest counsel. And the last one, 27:17, as iron sharpens iron, so a friend sharpens a friend. Lots of stuff going on there, right? Good stuff. Proverbs says pretty much that you're only going to be a wise person, and you'll only lead a wise life if you're good at choosing, forging, and keeping great friendships. Good friendships. This is a big part of leading this wise life. And think about your own life, your own friends, and the people you're closest with, and the people you have deep, close relationships with, and think about what in your opinion, what makes a good friend? What are the qualities? Are you what brings you back to being that's one of my closest friends? What is it about that person? What has brought you close together? What has got you liking that person? Maybe it's someone you see every day, all day, and you're like, that's my best friend. Maybe it's someone you rarely ever see, but then you're like, but we tight. I know they got my back. We're close. What is it? What makes a good friend? I want to start out by talking about, for one, what makes friendship so unique? Friendship. There's different relationships that we can have. What makes friendship unique? It's not like the other types of relationships and that we can have, the other types of love, right? You can love a friend in a very different way than you're loving your boyfriend or your girlfriend. Your relationship with your friends is different than the one that you have with your family. It's different than what you have with a neighbor or a stranger or just an acquaintance, right? It's unique. It's different than that. And what is it? The first verse we read, it says, there's a friend who sticks closer than a brother. You're friend closer than a brother. Now, what is this saying, Because it's saying a friend can be better than a sibling, which is a lot of people, we're all looking for that friend who's close enough that we can call a sibling, right? My bros. Do girls say my sisters? You say that? I don't know. Bros are always saying bros. I don't hear much sisses around. But anyway, so what's closer than a sibling, a friend? And you gotta realize, like, when this is being said back then, 2,000 years ago, like, their culture was so big on family, right? They're way bigger on family than we are now. Like, they were all about family. You have this big family, and that becomes like your nation, you know? Like, you want to have this big family. It means you've got good value in the community. You get to send all your kids out into the field and do all the work for you. Like, big families were what it was all about back then. And then it says a friend can be closer than a brother. Why would a friend be better than a sibling? And then the next verse said, a friend loves at all times, but a sibling is there for times of trouble. Now, what does that mean? This is what I think this is trying to say, is that your siblings are people you're related to by blood, your family, right? They're there for you. They're going to be there in trouble because there's loyalty, there's memory, right? You're there for each other, but they don't always like you. They don't, but they're there for you, but they're not the person who's like, let's go for coffee, let's hang out, let's watch movies all the time. It can be, but not that often. Like, you can count on your family, but it's just a bit different. They're not always your best friends who you want to see and hang out with all the day. You have to see them all day, so you don't really want to. They're your family. It's different, you know, but a friend is someone who's chosen you. They want to hang out with you. They want that, right? Friendship brings something in your life that family can't really bring, and that romance can't really bring, but nothing else really brings. And it's this choice, but it's different. I mean, if you think about even romantic love and love like that, our culture is always putting romantic love and sexual love as like the top of the top. That is what it's all about. What do they make movies about, you know? Love stories, romance. What's in the magazines, the top of the tabloids, all the stuff like that. It's like, is it ever like, you'll never guess who Matt Andrews' new best friend is. No one cares about your best friend. But who someone's dating? Yeah, we want to know about that, right? But we don't, like, who's best friend? Can you imagine, who is Brad Pitt's new best friend? Turn to page 7. No one's turning. It's not even clickbait. But it's like we care about who's dating who's in a relationship with who, right? That's the big stuff. Friendship is always kind of second tier. Like, it doesn't really matter that much. Because friendship is just it's not as hot and steamy. It's not as big. It's not as necessary in our lives either. There's this quote by C.S. Lewis, and he talks about, he actually wrote this whole essay on friendship, but I want to read this quote. Yeah, nice. It says, friendship is the least instinctive and organic, biological, the least necessary of all our loves. It has the least commerce with our physical system. There's nothing throaty about it. Throaty. That's a word I never use. Nothing that quickens the pulse or turns you red and pale. You know? You think about the relationships. They get the pulse racing, right? Think about your first date with someone, like you're nervous, your heart's beating, you're like, you can't quite act yourself. Friends, you don't get that with friends. Friends, you don't even care. It's not a big deal. It's not as like, but there's something about relationships that like biology is telling us like, well, this is something we need to procreate and things like that. And it gets us all worked up and gets us overthinking things and it's high. It's on, every emotions are running on a high, right? And we're motivated by our biology in a way. It's crazy. And then loving your family is like the complete opposite. It's like you're born into that, and you have to love your family, and that's normal, and it's so regular. And then there's friendship, which is this choice that we choose, that we get to have. Either you choose to be this person's friend, or you don't. Right? Friendship is take it or leave it. It's a lot. Like if you think about your friends, you got friends. If you're gonna end a friendship, I don't know if you've ever done that. That can be weird. You've probably ended friendships without even thinking about it. Whereas, like, if you're going to end a relationship, you're going to think about it, and it hurts. If you're going to end a family relationship, how do you even do that? You can't. They're your family. That's hard. But friendship, it's like, I'm out. I'm done with this friend. So when you have friends, they're not saying that, and they're saying, I want to be friends with you, because, I want to be friends with you. And why? Why do we choose our friends? Why do we have friends? When friendship happens in a natural way, when we just become friends with someone, most of the time it's because we got something in common with them. Something in common, a common love for something, a common vision towards something in common. Friendship doesn't necessarily ask, like, do you love me? So much as it says, do you see the same thing that I see? Do you see the same thing that I see? Do you enjoy the same thing that I enjoy, right? Two people, they like the same form of entertainment, so they go to the same things together. Two people pursuing the same goal in life, so they got lots to talk about. Two people with the same passion, or playing on the same team, or moving towards the same career path or something, but usually there's something in common that says, hey, we're doing the same thing, you see what I see, you're doing what I do, so let's be friends, right? And the typical expression when you discover this is, it's kind of like, what? You too? All right, let's be friends. You like what I like, let's be friends. When I was in grade 3, I have this very firm memory in my mind of a friend I made one day. It was recess, and it was raining outside, and I was out, everyone was inside, but I was outside because I had no friends. And there's a gravel field, it was all full of rocks, and I was standing looking down at the rocks, and I was doing this. And rocks are flying up at a wall, and I was very entertained by this, and I was like, this is how I'm going to spend my recess. And then I looked to the left, and I saw this other kid doing the same thing, and I was like, whoa. So I moved him over, he moved over a bit, we moved closer, and then I was like, hi, my name's Brett, and then we became best friends. We were friends for the next 10 years after that. Like, oh, I like kicking rocks. What? You do? Let's be friends. Like, it's simple as that. Two people who like the same things. Simple. A lot of you might know one of my good friends is Michael Chinchilla. We have a lot in common now, but what actually started our friendship it was like 4 guys standing in a circle, and we were talking about Dragon Ball Z. And I was like, you watch Dragon Ball Z too? Yeah, come on. And we just talked about it for like a long time, and that is how our friendship started. 2 people see the same thing together. That's what it is. It's not so much like, do you love me as a person, but it's just like, do we see the same thing? You might not love every single thing about that person, but you got enough common ground, right? And it's just, like I said, it's different than romantic love, because romantic love is saying, like, do you love me? Deep down, me at the core. That's romantic, but friendship's not quite saying that. Now, you can have, like, romantic love and friendship in the same person, but I think it's actually a lot less likely to have good friends, because I think if you think about like relationships and lovers, right? Lovers are always like in each other's face, like telling each other how much they love each other, right? They're like, I love you so much, I like you too so much, you're so funny, oh no, you're so funny. And they're just like, but when do you do that with your friends? Like, you're my best friend, I think you're so funny. We don't really do that. It's just, we don't need to validate each other and say those kind of things, so it doesn't really happen. Because lovers like face to face, right? It's like you and me, and we're a thing. Friends are more like side by side, and we're going the same direction. We're shoulder to shoulder, we're buddies, we're friends, we're doing the same thing. It's different. Friendship is unique, right? That's what I'm saying. It's not like family. It's not like relationships. It's unique. And what I've been talking about is how we become friends and what makes friends start. But there's a whole bunch more in Proverbs where it's talking about like what it means to be a good friend. It's not that we have friends and we're friends. What does it mean to be a good friend to a person? What does it mean? What does that mean? So we're going to break it down. There's some qualities of a good friend described in Proverbs. I summed them up into 4 categories. Nice, quick, and easy categories. They are being there for them, caring for them, honesty, and counsel. So we're going to go through each one. The first one was being there for the person. There are 3 verses that I want to look to for this one. They were, a friend loves at all times. One who has unreliable friends soon comes to ruin, but there's a friend who sticks closer than a brother. Seldom set foot in your neighbor's house. Too much of you will hate you. That's the funniest verse. A friend loves at all times. What does that mean? Friend loves at all times, but too much of you, and they will hate you. What's the right amount? What does this mean? I think it means like a friend loves at all times. It doesn't mean they're there all the time. It means they're there through all types of times, all kinds of times. Good times, bad times, ordinary times. They're there at all times. That's what this is trying to say. Like, something we can pull from this is that a good friend has availability. They're there through all times. They're available. You can't be a good friend without being there, right? You gotta be there to be a good friend. So being there is a big part of it. Being a good friend means being someone who can be counted on at all times and all times. Someone who's reliably there, and it's not just like availability and leaving it at that, but it's being there, especially when things go wrong. Because when things go wrong, that's when it can get tough to be there for someone. That's when it can start taking something out of you to be there for a friend when something is going wrong. And when someone is there for you, then you can call this person for help, right? And then it says, that one verse says, unreliable friends will let you go to ruin. They're not there for you. But a good friend will not let you go to ruin because they care and they're there. A good friend is there for you. The second one is an emotional connection. Emotional connection. Like truly caring for this other person. Truly, you care about them so much. The verses for this one are 25:20. Singing cheerful songs to a person with a heavy heart is like taking someone's coat in cold weather, pouring vinegar on a wound. Just as damaging as a madman shooting a deadly weapon, someone who lies to a friend and then says, I was only joking. So what are these verses all about? Why would someone do these things? You think about it. Why would someone, like, what leads you to, those are kind of weird things to be doing. You know, you lie, you say, I was only joking, or singing cheerful songs when someone has a heavy heart. I think this is a person who is emotionally disconnected from you. They just don't get you. They don't see where you're at. They don't understand how you're feeling or something, right? It's kind of saying like if you lie to someone, or you gotta say like, hey, I was only joking, but that person's like offended. It's like you clearly don't understand this person. Like you don't know them well enough to know that they would not think that joke is funny, or not understand, or that joke would actually hurt them. You must not know them. You must not be close enough to them, right? Same with like you singing cheerful songs when someone has a heavy heart. There's just an emotional disconnection, right? If I can be happy while you are sad, I must not be a very good friend. I must not be that connected to how you're feeling. If you've ever experienced talking with a friend and they're very sad, it's like you start becoming sad for them. You enter into their sadness because there's an emotional connection between the two of you. You're right there with them, and that's what these are saying. Like if you don't have those things, like your friendship there's something not right there. It's not working out. Because when you're close, you feel that unhappiness so strongly that you could possibly be singing songs of joy during this other person's sadness. It's kind of like an automatic thing. You don't really think about it, but if you're close with someone and they start sharing their stuff, like it's automatic. You're emotionally connected, so you're right there with them. And then a friend knows what you're feeling and cares for you and is right there with you. Emotional connection, and they feel it just like you do. They care. The third one is open honesty. Honesty, being open and honest. Verse 27, 5-6 says, better is open rebuke than hidden love. Faithful are the wounds of a friend. Profuse are the kisses of an enemy. 29:5 says, to flatter friends lay a trap at their feet. What is that about? Better is open rebuke. Faithful are the wounds of a friend. There was one time I was in grade 10, and I was in science class, and science is great. And I had this friend beside me, and we were kind of new friends. We weren't that close yet. I liked him. He was real smart. He'd let me look at his answers and things like that. And he would sit beside me, and first one day I remember his breath stunk. It was so bad. I've never experienced that before. And I was like, whoa, you're talking at me and I can smell it. This is crazy. And I was like, I can't handle it. So I'm like looking away. I was like, that's fine. I got through the day. I was like, Okay, the next day, I get to class, and it's the same thing. And I was like, what is going on with this guy's mouth? Something is not right in there. And I'm like, maybe it's just a coincidence, 2 days in a row, I don't know, so I let it be. The third day, it happened again, and I was like, I gotta do something about this. I can't let this guy live his life this way. He must not know that his breath is not smelling good. So finally, the whole class, I mustered up my courage. I was like, I gotta tell him. It's not gonna be easy. I gotta tell him. Like, I don't know if it's gonna wreck, I gotta tell him. So the whole class, I mustered up. At the end of the class, I say to him, like, hey man, like, I don't know what's going on, but like, your breath has been smelling kind of funky. You should maybe look into getting some gum or something. And he was like really embarrassed, like, oh, are you there? Covered him up. And then he walked, I don't remember. He walked out of class or something, and I was like, all right. But I don't remember his breath ever smelling again. So you can call me Stinky Breath, life-saving Brett from now on, because I did the deeds. Faithful wounds of a friend. Faithful wounds. Like, what is that? Faithful wounds? It's like words that we know someone needs to hear, but we also know are going to hurt them a little bit. We know they need to hear them, but we know they're going to hurt. Faithful wounds of a friend. If you, like, the reverse of that was hidden love. Like, better, open rebuke is better than hidden love. And you think about, if in your mind is like, I don't know if I can tell them, like, you think you're doing them a favor by not telling them, you're not. That's this hidden love, right? The idea of saying, I love this person too much to hurt them. I don't want to see them hurt. I can't say it. Like, that's holding back. That's not good. And the second verse was to flatter friends is to lay a trap at their feet. And what does this mean? I think this means instead of telling your friend what is wrong with them or what is, something like your stinky breath, it's you don't tell them. There's a lot more serious things out there, but this is a good example. But if you don't tell them, they go on living their life under the assumption that nothing's wrong, that they're good, or that they're in their right, and they're going to make decision after decision with this false version of themselves in their mind because their friends are not willing to tell them the truth about themselves. So it's like honesty of opening up, even when it's hard. We know it's for their good. Like, that's important. It's important to have a friend who's willing to do that for you and help you in life, right? It's all about building each other up, and we're friends. This is like meant to be a good thing. It's not meant to be a bad thing, right? It's very important quality among friends. It helps us build each other up. But it's not easy. And it's not easy because of the second point, which was like, we care. There's an emotional connection. It's hard. Like, the connection between honesty and caring for someone is kind of crazy if you think about it, because you're telling this person a truth that you know they need to hear, but you know it's going to hurt them, and when they get hurt, you get hurt. So you're like telling, it's like, that's why it's so hard, because you don't want to hurt them. When they get hurt, it hurts you back. Like, you're in on that. Have you ever had that experience where, like, you need to tell them something, but it hurts to say, but you know it's for their good, and it hurts you back? If you have it, I think you're being a good friend. I think that's a good thing, because it's building. It's not easy, but it's good. It's an important part of friendship. The fourth point is counsel. Counsel. 27:9 says, oil and perfume make the heart glad, and the sweetness of a friend comes from his earnest counsel. 27:17, as iron sharpens iron, so a friend sharpens a friend. The word earnest is like, it's like it comes from the heart, It comes from the heart. The word counsel is kind of like, it's kind of like opening up. It's kind of like secrets, Earnest counsel, it's like secrets from the heart. You're sharing secrets from the heart to this person. And it's kind of like when you confide in someone, when you're talking, you're spilling the depths of your soul, the secrets within your heart. That's counsel. But there's kind of two ends of the spectrum here. Maybe you've experienced this, maybe you have, but sometimes you're gonna open up to a friend and you're gonna be like, I'm gonna share my problem with you, and I'm looking for advice on this. And then all they want to do is share their problems with you. So you share a bit, and then they just open up and they just vent on you, right? There's like, this is everything going on in my life. Boom, it's 10 times worse than yours. And they just lay it all out for you and like, that didn't really help me. Okay, that's a friend who just vents back at you. That's not really quite counsel. The opposite end of the spectrum is like a therapist, right? You go see a therapist and I need some advice on this. Your therapist is not going to come up. They're not sharing any honest stuff about their life. They're the complete opposite. They're completely closed off, but they're logical. They're like, this is what you may be feeling, and these are the answers that you need to hear. But it's like not emotional at all. So there's this happy medium in between the two of them, this middle ground. As iron sharpens iron, a friend sharpens a friend. So you got a friendship where you're both sharing, you're both like learning from each other's deep depths of your soul. You're both willing to listen, you're understanding each other, you're letting each other in, you're talking about things, you're learning from each other. I think that's the sweet spot. That's a very great friendship to have. It's a good thing going on. That's kind of what counsel is. It's going between the both of you, growing from each other, learning together, sharing from the heart, letting each other in. I believe that's what counsel means when it's talking about this. So those are the 4 categories. What do you guys think? Those make a lot of sense to me. Too much sense. You read the Bible and you're like, this is too spot on. This is too good. 4 categories. They're there for you. They're caring. They're honest. And there's counsel. 4 good things. And now here's the kicker. We can talk about this and be like, this is what makes a great friend. Now go and be amazing friends. Now go and do this. Right? We can end it there, but there's actually a lot bigger of a thing going on here. A lot bigger thing. Because when you read this description, like, how does that make you feel? What are the feelings that come in to your brain and your mind? There's usually 2 that have to do with this. The first one being a feeling of longing, right? Like, I could use a friend like that. That sounds like an amazing friend. Sounds like a friend who's going to help me in my life, going to be there for me, going to have a deep relationship, like a best friend. Like, that sounds amazing. I could really use a friend like that. And we want that friend. Because the friends we got, like friendship's weird, right? Friends are temporary, they're changing, people move away, lifestyles change, things like that. You read about this, you want that friend. We can have a good friend. We can have lots of friends, but there's this deeper thing, like we don't have all the friendship that our heart longs for. We just don't have all the friendship that our heart longs for. There's something more our heart needs. And then the second response is kind of like a crushing expectation. It's like when you look at this perfect friend, you describe all that, it's like that's kind of hard to be that kind of a friend. And if I look at my life and my friendships, very honestly, like I fall very short in this. I know for sure that I let friends down in all 4 categories, right? I have friends who I love, but I failed to be there for them. I didn't think about it. I forgot. I wasn't there. I can't always be there. I try my best to care about my friends, to have this caring, to care for them, but sometimes I care about myself, and I start pursuing my own things first, and I can't. I fail. I mess up, right? I want to be honest and open with my friends and help them and open rebuke, but it's very hard. That's not easy to do all the time. Even when they need it, it's not that easy. I want to have earnest counsel with my friends and be deep and learn, but it's like with every single friend, that's too much. I can't do it. I don't have the capacity to do that with every single friend. So you look at these things and we look at ourselves and we're not experts in friendship and we fall short in this and we can't be these kind of friends. We can't give this kind of friendship. So how can we expect to receive this kind of friendship? We can't even do it ourselves. How can anyone do it? We can't do it. And I know I can't be the only one. Like, how easy is it to just be completely open and honest with a friend when you know it's going to hurt them? It ain't easy. It's hard. We're afraid. How are you at being there unconditionally for your friends? It's hard. It's not that easy. All right? Can I show you the answer that your heart is longing for? That friendship that we need. There's this one moment in the Bible, and it's talking about Jesus and his life, and he actually is talking, but it's the night that Jesus, right before he's about to go to the cross, and he's trying to explain to them about what he's going to do. He's like, he's trying to explain. One of the ways he starts to explain, he explains in terms of friendship. Come on. It's John 15, 11 to 15. He says this. He says, I've told you these things for a purpose, that my joy might be your joy, and your joy wholly mature. This is my command. Love one another the way I loved you. This is the very best way to love. Put your life on the line for your friends. You are my friends when you do the things I command you. I'm no longer calling you servants, because servants don't understand what their master's thinking and planning. No, I've named you friends, because I've let you in on everything that I've heard from the Father. Jesus is like constantly referring to us as friends. Or as friends. He's let us in on the plans of the Master. He's let we understand what he's done for us. And when we think about it in terms of friendship, it's like suddenly the whole history of God makes more sense when you realize he just wants to be your friend. He just wants some friends. It's crazy. Think about it. Think about the Genesis story back in the day. You got Adam and Eve hanging out in the garden. God comes walking in the cool of the garden. He's like, what's up, guys? And you know what's crazy about that? He's walking with them in the garden, right? The Hebrew word for walking, or what that means when they say walking, it means friendship. It's like when you walk through life with your friends, like that's kind of what this is saying. Like he just wants to walk with them. He wants to be their friends, and he made us for friendship. But then we turn from him, right? We mess up, we sin, we collectively, as a human race, as well as we individually, we kind of mess this friendship up. We make mistakes, right? We sin, we choose our own path, we mess it up over and over again. Sometimes we just ignore him, like he's not there. Some friends, sometimes we get too busy for him, and our life takes us away, right? We sin, we choose sin sometimes, like we're not being great friends in this, but even when we fail in our end of the friendship, he loves us, forgives us, he covers us with his grace, and it's crazy. Like there's this brokenness in our friendship, right? You think about your normal friends, and if a friend wrongs you, it's kind of hard to be friends again. It's hard to forgive them, but there's this forgiveness and this broken friendship caused by us. And then Jesus comes along, and he's like the middleman to solve the problem. He helps it out. He brings us back into the friendship with God. There's another verse that puts it very well. It's Romans chapter 5, verse 10 to 11. It says, for since our, friendship with God was restored by the death of his Son while we were still his enemies, we will certainly be saved through the life of his Son. We're saved through Jesus. So now we can rejoice in our wonderful new relationship with God because our Lord Jesus Christ has made us friends of God. Because of Jesus, we're friends with God. We're back in. Yeah, we messed up. Yeah, we sinned. Yeah, we chose wrong things. But because of Jesus, we are back to being friends with God. Your friend is here. All right. If you ever think about your relationship with God, how am I doing with God? What does God think when he thinks about me? These kind of things. Like, have you ever considered him to be your friend? Have you ever thought that he wants to just be your friend? I think it's kind of revolutionary when you start to think about it. Like, God wants to be your friend. Often we think of him as like a king, right? Someone we have to obey and do what he says, and he's got all this list of way to live your life and things like that. Sometimes we think of him like a judge. Like he's ready to pounce on all the mistakes I've made and tell me about the wrong things I've done. He's going to punish me now. But do you realize that he just wants to be your friend? In all these ways that was described, all these things that we just heard about friendship, God wants to be that in your life. Like it's crazy. Like it's mind-blowing when you start to understand it this way. Jesus comes along and he's saying, like, I'm the ultimate friend that your heart longs for. The friend who loves at all times. The friend who will not let you be ruined. He's like, I can't sing songs when your heart is heavy. I'm that emotionally connected. His words are honest and caring and meant to build you up and help you. Therefore, you're good. He wants to share in your deepest of thoughts in your life and the things that are going on inside of you that only you know. And he wants to share his heart with you as well. He's like the living embodiment of these proverbs that we read. He wants to be that in your life. He's that perfect friend. And when we start to receive that friendship in our life, we start to understand these things, and we start to let Jesus enter our life and build us up in these ways, be that friend. It's like if I know that Jesus let me all the way in, he trusts me and loves me no matter what. I don't have to be so afraid of things in my life. I don't have to be so afraid of rejection. I don't have to be afraid of these things. Right? If I know that Jesus will never let me down, then I don't have to be afraid of being let down in my life. Because I got Jesus here, right? When I'm set free to be this friend that I ought to be, then I'm going to start making those good kind of friendships. I'm able to be in those kind of friendships. When I receive it first and understand what it's about, now I'm able to enter into it with other friends in this world, the friends my heart longs to have. And we get all that through knowing the friendship of Jesus, the friendship that he has for us, and understanding that. I want to ask the band to work their way up, just as I come to a close here. But I wanted to bring it back to the original point that I kind of said, where I think friendship begins by having something in common. Something that we're all about. Something in common, right? If you think about your friends, your Christian friends, Christianity brings a whole new level to this kind of friendship. I think it's unreal. There's when you've experienced the grace of God and what it has for you in your life, and you're like, now I just want to live and I want to please Jesus, and then you meet someone else and you're like, you too? Come on. You've got such a firm foundation in that friendship that's how amazing friendships are started with that. Each person has the deepest desire. It's the same thing, that they want to live their life to love Jesus. That's an amazing thing. Think of the potential in that friendship. That's why so many strong bonds are made at churches and in these kind of places, because there's this deep core of our friendships here. And it's one of my hopes that in these small groups, in these conversations that we have, that we're able to do this, that we're able to make these kind of friends and find that kind of closeness and walk through life with each other. When we're put in a group where we're able to share what's on our heart, we're able to find that earnest counsel, we're able to care for each other, and we're intentional about it, and we want to be friends. So it's my hope that at small groups, at conversations, that you'll find these kind of friends, and you'll begin these kind of friendships, and you'll also find the friendship of Jesus. So tonight, our topic has been all about friendship, the kind of relationship that we can know with God, that kind of friendship. Maybe you've never really considered God as a friend before. You've never seen him that way, that he could be a friend. When you look at the attributes of a friend, like we're talking about, that's who Jesus wants to be in your life. He wants to be there in all those different kind of ways. He wants to be that kind of person. God wants you to know him as a friend. It's not like I said, it's not like God is this big commanding God who's just ordering you to do things, and there's no relationship there. That's not how it is. It's this loving Father who wants to be your friend, wants to know you in that kind of a way. And maybe tonight is your night of discovery, where you've never known this before, and this is the first time that you're seeing it this way. You've never seen Jesus before. Tonight, you can accept his friendship. You can make that decision in your heart, and you just say, I think I get it now. I want that. I want to know Jesus in that way. It's as simple as that, and you can make that decision tonight. What we're going to do tonight is we're just about to go into response time. We're going to have leaders at the back, and if that's you here tonight, then I want to ask that you just tell a leader, you just say, hey, you know what? I want to know Jesus, and they'll take it from there. They want to talk to you, and it's for one, celebrate, because that's a great thing, and they'll lead you through it and say, all right, well, this is how you can take some steps in your life, or this is how you can get legit about it. This is how you do it. So if you're here and that's on your heart, and you're I think I want to know Jesus in this way, I want to ask that you take the bold step and you go and find a leader and you just tell them. And I promise, they just want to celebrate with you. It's amazing. It's hard sometimes to leave your share, but find a leader, tell them, that's me, I want to do that tonight. maybe you're here and you just want to pray. You just want like strength to be a friend. Or maybe you're struggling in your friendships, or for whatever reason. Maybe you feel your friends just aren't the best, or aren't doing that good. Or maybe your eyes are being opened and you're like, maybe I'm not being the best friend, or maybe I'm not doing that good in my friendships. I want to encourage that you seek Jesus and you seek His friendship in your life. You come to understand His friendship for you, and I think it will receiving that will build you up and give you understanding on what friendship means and what to have in your friends and what to seek in your friends and all of the above. But the first thing that we can do is just seek the friendship of God, seek the friendship of Jesus. And guys, it really is my prayer that we find these kind of deep friendships. Like I said, there's nothing better than seeing those kind of friendships blossom and the growth and the positivity that comes from those kind of friends. So we're gonna, in just a minute, we're gonna do a response time. We're gonna have leaders just in the back over there and they're there to pray with you. Let's pray, and then we're going to go into response time. God, we just thank you. We thank you for your friendship, God. We thank you for your word, and just that you would lay this out for us, God, and explain these things to us, God. And we thank you for just kind of giving us the roadmap to understanding how you care about us, God, and how you view us as friends. And God, I pray for anyone here tonight who doesn't know your friendship personally, God. I pray that they can just have the boldness and the courage to accept that, to say, I want that, to enter into a relationship with you, God. And God, I pray for our friendships as we go and we have friends and we make friends, God. I pray that we're able to live this up, for this to be a part of our life, God. God, I pray that you fill us up with your friendship and that we're able to pour out this friendship to our friends that are around us, God, to be there for them, to care for them, to be honest with them, and to find that deep counsel with them, God. We just pray that you're working through us in this way. God, I pray for any friendships that are struggling tonight, God. I pray that you just work in the lives of those people, God, and you give us clarity on what real friends look like, God. And I pray that you blossom friendships here within the church and within our small groups and the conversations, God. God, you're so good, and we just thank you. Tonight, we just thank you for your friendship. In your name we pray. Amen. Thanks.
Will you guys stand and join us in worship?